Good morning, loves. Good morning. Hope everyone had a joyous and wonderful weekend. I know it was hot, but it was a great weekend. And my loves, welcome to Once Upon a True Story. And Miss Mel hopes you all enjoyed a couple weeks ago because we do our Once Upon a True Story every other Monday at 10 a.m. And the last Once Upon a True Story, we read about an amazing female shark scientist by the name of Eugenie Clark. And we learned all about her and how when she was a little girl, she dreamed about becoming someone, and she did. And became an adult, and she became the scientist of the ocean that she always wanted to be. So, my loves, today we are going to continue our Once Upon a True Story series and reading about an amazing artist, one of Miss Mel's absolute favorites, and his name is Horace Pippin. And we're going to learn about his life and how when he was a little boy, he dreamed in his heart, with all the passion he had in his heart, of becoming an artist and someone that he could hang pictures in galleries, and someone that he could create so much beautiful art that would affect the lives and touch everyone's heart. And he did. With enough hard work and determination, just like we all can do, if we dream something and work at it very hard, my loves, you can become anything you want to be with enough heart and passion. And so we're going to see how he went through a lot of tough times, and still through those tough times, he was able to persevere and become the person he wanted to be in Once Upon a True Story. And it inspires me so much, my loves, and I hope it inspires you. A Splash of Red, The Life and Art of Horace Pippin. And this was written by Jen Bryant and one of my absolute favorite illustrators, Melissa Sweet. And when Miss Mel says illustrators, I mean the artists who actually drew the pictures in this book. So again, written by Jen Bryant and illustrated by Melissa Sweet. Once Upon a True Story. On February 22nd, 1888, the town of Westchester, Pennsylvania. Now, Horace lived locally. He lived in Westchester, Pennsylvania. Celebrated a holiday. That day, in that same town, Daniel and Christine Pippin celebrated the birth of their son, Horace. You see that picture? Isn't that cool? In Pennsylvania. Now, Horace grew up so fast that his mother could barely keep up with him mending his clothes because he grew up so big and tall and so fast. Like we all do, don't we, my loves? He'll be a giant someday, the neighbors would say. And his grandmother was filled with such love for him. She had the biggest, warmest heart and the biggest hands to give him the biggest hugs every single day, my loves. And Grandma said, you know, you're just fine giving these big hugs. And Grandma would give him big hugs every morning and make sure to know how special he is and how much she loved him. And she would always tell him, the biggest part of you, my love, she told him, is inside where no one can see. And you have your heart inside of you that gives you such joy and passion. And you make sure the world sees that every day. When Horace was 3 years old, the Pippins moved to Gosham, New York. And as the family grew larger and larger, everyone helped out because everyone in the family, no matter how old or young they were, everyone pitched in and helped out. Horace put his big hands to work. He fetched flour for his mother. He sorted laundry for his sisters. He played with his baby brother. He held the house while the driver delivered milk every day. And at night, he piled wood in the stove and arranged dominoes so his grandmother could play with him. Then if he could find a scrap of paper and a piece of charcoal, oh, happy day, that was a wonderful time for Horace. Because once he found that charcoal and that piece of paper, he drew pictures of what he had seen that day. Horace had a mind where he would see something throughout the day and he would draw it from his mind. He would still have that picture in his head. Horace loved to draw. He loved the feel of the charcoal as it slid across the floor and through his fingers. He loved looking at something in the room and making it come alive again through his art. And he loved thinking about a friend or a pet and then drawing them a picture from his mind. Because Horace loved to give my loves. That's the best joy he had, to give joy and love to everyone he cared about. Now, at school, he sat quietly at his desk, and his big hands were always busy. He loved making a picture for us. His classmates would yell, "Horace, Horace, Horace, please make a picture for us. We love your art." And his pictures made people very happy. Now, except when he would make some in his spelling list, when he would do his list for the teacher, his teacher would become very mad. But you know what? Look at how cool. Miss Mill's going to show you a close-up shot of this, because when Horace did his spelling activities, Horace was something we call a visual learner. And Miss Mill is very much like that. When I see something, it makes me remember it a lot more with color and pop. So you know what? Horace was a visual learner, meaning every time he did his spelling, he drew a picture next to the word to help him remember. So he had tree. For a tree, he drew a tree. Let's see his awesome, cool picture of a hen and a dog. What? When he did a dog, he drew a dog. When he did a hen, he drew a hen. I thought that's so cool. It was a different way of seeing the world. Pictures just come to my mind, says Horace, and I tell my heart to go ahead and draw them. But Horace couldn't stop drawing. Horace drew every moment of the day he could. And one day, Horace saw a funny face in the newspaper that said, "Draw me." It was a contest. And to win a prize, it said underneath. And Horace didn't know what the prize was. Horace drew the face and sent it off to the paper. And you know what? This is what he drew. Isn't that amazing? Doesn't that picture that he drew, just by looking at that other picture and drawing it, it looks just like that picture. How cool is that? A few weeks later, a package arrived, and inside, Horace found colored pencils, a pair of brushes, and a box of paints. "Congratulations," said the note. He had won the prize for the best drawing. "And paint a picture for us, Horace," his sister cried. "Please, now that you have paint, you can paint a picture." And red he loved. And Horace did. He painted everyday scenes in natural colors he found in the world. Then he added a splash of red. What? Isn't that beautiful? Now, Horace was in 8th grade when his father left, and unfortunately the family needed money. So Horace quit school and he went to work. For several years, Horace's big hands were always busy, whether they're stacking grains at a feed store, shoveling coal at a yard, mending fences on a farm, carrying luggage at a hotel, and making brakes in the iron factory, packing oil paintings into large wooden crates. Looking at these made Horace think about all the things he remembered about winning that art contest, and all the things he loved in the world about art and drawing, and proud he'd been. Now, he loved his colored pencils, paints, and awesome brushes. But Horace was a big man now with big responsibilities. Still, he loved drawing as much as he always had. He used charcoal, he used broken pencils, he used whatever he could when he could find it. "And make a picture for us, Horace," the other workers said, and Horace did. Because Horace loved to draw. Far across the ocean, a terrible war had begun, World War I. And Horace's big heart, because Horace had a big, beautiful, wonderful heart, wanted to help. So the good old USA was in trouble with Germany, and he joined the army and he sailed away. In France, Horace and his regiment dug deep trenches for protection. There were no blankets or beds, and the war had very tough times, and it was very cold. "I've not seen the sun in more than a month," Horace wrote in his journal. And he wrapped his big hands around himself, and oh my goodness, things booms and busts, and all of these big sounds came overhead during the war. And if the fighting stopped for a while, he picked up his pencil and he started to draw. "And make a picture for us," said Horace. And all the other soldiers, Horace said it in his heart, of course, and all the soldiers said, "Make a picture for us, Horace. You do such beautiful drawings." And Horace did. He filled his notebook full of paintings and drawings, as much as he could. And Horace said this quote, "The war brought out all the art in me." Sometimes, my loves, when we go through tough times, things that feed our passion and our love help us through those tough times. And for him, it was painting and art. And you know what? For all of us, it might be taking a walk or drawing or taking a deep breath that help bring the peace inside of us and help calm that part of us that makes us angry or sad. And one day, he climbed up to the top of the trench, and a big boom shot out. Boom! Oh no! Horace had been wounded in his shoulder from the war. Many hours passed before he could get help, and Horace was glad to be alive, but the boom in his shoulder hurt his shoulder and hurt his arm. Oh no, what would Horace do? When it healed, he couldn't lift or move his arm. And how could I draw, said Horace. And when someone said, make a picture of Horace, Horace could not. Horace felt very sad because he thought, how could I ever make something again that could truly make me happy and make others so happy? Because Horace had a big heart. After the war, Horace came back to the United States and met a beautiful other wonderful woman, and her name was Jenny Wade. Jenny was a hard worker too, just like Horace, and she loved to cook. Horace was a hard worker too, and he loved to eat. That sounds like Miss Mel. It was a good match. They married and settled down in Westchester, Pennsylvania. And Horace said, I can never forget suffering, and I will never forget a sunset. I came home with all of it in my mind. Because Horace had pictures in his mind that he would draw and remember. He was a visual learner, and he had those pictures in his mind forever and always. And he drew them, and that helped him through some very tough times. Horace was 32 years old and as big and as strong as ever. But because of his injured arm, he couldn't find a job. Remember, my loves, he injured his arm. How much can you lift? The hiring boss asked. And that was the end of that because Horace couldn't lift his arm. So Horace did what he could. He organized a Boy Scout troop. He umpired baseball games. He took the neighbors' children fishing. When Genie, his wife, started a laundry business, he helped deliver the laundry. And as he walked along the streets of Westchester, Pennsylvania, his fingers itched for the charcoal and the smell of the paint and the wonderful things he remembered as an artist to draw because he had all these beautiful pictures in his mind. And lacy white curtains billowing in the windows, a splash of red geraniums on someone's step, a yellow cat going down an alley, deep green vines spiraling up a wall. And at night, his old home in Goshen, his grandmother's days he would think about, and the Bible stories she would tell him, and make pictures in his mind. He longed to draw. His heart longed to draw. And he said, you know what? I'm not going to make this stop me from doing what my heart tells me to, my passion. So my loves, Horace found a way. The iron poker stood by the fire, straight and tall as a soldier. Could he draw with that? The charcoal from the fireplace? And he did. With his left hand, he grasped his right wrist. He thrust the poker into the flames to get some of the charcoal. And he drew, my loves. Using his good arm to move the hurt one, he scorched lines into the wood and drew amazing, amazing pictures. Make a picture for us, Horace, the neighbor said. And Horace did. With practice, his arm grew much stronger, my loves. He practiced every day because in his heart, he knew that he could draw. And he practiced every day. And Miss Mel's going to show you how he held his paintbrush. Miss Mel brought one of her paintbrushes up because I love art myself, and I love to paint and draw. So he took one of his paintbrushes, he held it in his right hand, he held his left arm, and as his arm grew stronger, he painted his pictures. He didn't let anything stop him from what he loved, and he knew what he had in his heart to do. So every day, late into the night, Horace worked on his paintings every day, and he used gray, black, and white, the sunset colors of war. Here and there he added a splash of red. If a man knows nothing but hard times, he will paint them, for he must be true to himself, Horace said. He used 100 layers of paint, and he decorated the frame with any sculptures. 3 years later, he finished. I go over that picture in my mind several times, Horace said, and when I'm ready to paint it, I have all the details I need. And now, as he delivered laundry or anything, anywhere he could, new ideas came to him, and he would paint them all right away. Look at that. And some of his paintings he would give to some factories and stores, and they would put them in the windows of their store. And he sold all his paintings for $5 each in some of the stores. And people admired Horace's paintings all over. Do you see some of his paintings, my loves? And Miss Mel's going to show you how to find more of his paintings too after our story today. Then the president of local artist club saw Horace's pictures. He told his friend, a famous painter, N.C. Wyeth. He told N.C. Wyeth, and N.C. Wyeth is another painter, a local painter in Chadsford, Pennsylvania, who was the father of Andrew Wyeth, to come see them too. Wyeth agreed. Horace's paintings were absolutely beautiful. They're very good. Do you have any more? N.C. Wyeth asked. Horace showed them his work. He held his breath, and they looked and they talked together. And finally they said, you should have your own show, Horace, your own gallery show. These are too beautiful. And a one-man exhibition right here in Westchester, Pennsylvania. And Horace could hardly believe it. He shook the hands of the men, and when they left, he celebrated with his wife, Genie. It is some of the purest expression of art I have seen in a long time, said N.C. Wyeth. And N.C. Wyeth, like Miss Mel said, was the father of Andrew Wyeth. And Andrew Wyeth was also an artist in Chadsford, Pennsylvania. And N.C. Wyeth was also an illustrator of children's books. Over 112 illustrations of children's books, and one of my favorites, Treasure Island. People came from all over the world to see Horace's work. Magazines wrote articles, reporters took photos, and art dealers told Horace they would help him sell his work. And more than 40 years had passed since Horace won his first box of paints. Remember, from that drawing contest? And now at last everyone knew he was an artist. Horace became famous. His paintings hung in big city galleries. Museums displayed them all over. Collections admired them. Movie stars bought them. Once again, Horace's big hands were always busy, and he was written up in so many different papers all over the world. And if you stood outside his house on a dark night, late at night, you might see him using his easel with his left hand holding his right arm to help him paint his beautiful pictures, letting nothing stop him. And his left hand holding up his right, painting his pictures from his mind. He would paint all the way into the night, my love. Do you see him? If Miss Mel shows you a close-up shot, do you see how Horace would hold his paintbrush up high? And he'd hold it with his right hand with his left hand. And like Miss Mel said, it became stronger as he worked harder at it. All our dreams come true, my loves, when we put our work and perseverance and determination in the things we want to do and we have a passion for. So, my loves, in this book today, we also have in the book, if you get it from our library, marplelibrary.org, through curbside pickup, you can get it in any of our libraries throughout Delaware County, and also you can get it through Overdrive. Overdrive also has a copy of this, and in the back of the book, you have all the details, and that's a real-life picture of the wonderful artist Horace Pippin. And you know what? He did over 140 works of art in his lifetime and won 2 awards for his honor and valor in World War I. The Croix de Guerre, which is the French Cross of War, and he won a Purple Heart in World War I. And today, museums in Philadelphia, New York City, Washington, all over the United States share in his wonderful pieces of art. And also in this book, you have a little note by the author about how she was inspired to write this book, and a note from the illustrator, Melissa Sweet, on how she was inspired with her pictures to come about for this book. And on here are so many amazing different ways and different links you can find to learn more about this amazing artist, Horace Pippin. So that was A Splash of Red, my loves, The Life and Art of Horace Pippin. Again, written by Jen Bryant and illustrated by Melissa Sweet. Now today, we also have the many links up top. Miss Mel has put up there for you. There's an awesome link by another amazing homeschooler mom up there that Miss Mel found, that she shows you how to use this book and do some art of your own inspired by Horace Pippin. And she tells you more about the book and the history behind it, which is amazing. She's an amazing homeschooler mom who put a lot of her heart into this. And I hope you all enjoy it, which I know you will, because I certainly did. There's also a link from the Philadelphia Museum of Art. They shared something on Sunday of Horace Pippin's work, and you can click on the link there, and it takes you right to some of the pieces our very own Philadelphia Museum of Art has, and a little description of his life as well. And also, there's another amazing link Miss Mel put for you to find out more about some more pieces of Horace Pippin, and some pieces, a little gallery, slide gallery. You can go through and see more of his pieces of art and talk about them in your family. All right, my loves? So you know what? Tomorrow, we are going to have awesome, also wonderful story times. Tuesday and Wednesday, we have 10:30 a.m. story times. Princess story time week, what? Make sure to dress up. Make sure to dress up. Miss Mel and Christina are going to dress up too. And you know what else? In 2 weeks' time, our other amazing Once Upon a True Story time we are going to have. Not next week, but the following week. You're going to join me at 10:30. And we are going to read an amazing children's wonderful book biography on Chef Roy Choi, who is a phenomenal chef. And we're going to learn about when he was a little one and what inspired to reach his dreams as an adult. All right, my love, I've so enjoyed reading this amazing story with you on Horace Pippin's life, and I hope it inspired you to reach for the stars, my love, and keep hold of your dreams. And remember, through enough hard work, you can become anything you want to be, my loves, in Once Upon a True Story. Have a wonderful day, my loves, and I'll see you tomorrow. Mwah! Hi, Michael. Good morning. You and Mom, good morning. And good morning to everyone joining us today. Love you all. Mwah!